Our scripture reading this morning comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5. And if you'd like to, you're welcome to follow along in your bulletins as the text is printed there. Hear these words. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. May God bless our modern hearing of this sacred text.
When I think of that phrase, salt of the earth, I have a picture that comes in my head just like that. It's Carol Mead. Carol was a woman who lived in Afton, Missouri, a kind of middle-class suburb outside of St. Louis. She was a member of Compton Heights Christian Church. She was kind of the quintessential church lady, a large woman. She decided that the neighborhood around the church had changed some, and it was time that the neighbors, the children, start to get involved. And so she went door to door knocking and would learn the name of a child and say, your son, your daughter, they should come down to the church. We have a Sunday afternoon youth group we want them to be a part of. And one by one, they started to come, these neighbor kids. This was way back a long time ago. You'll know, I'm going to date it. It was around the time there was a television show called The Mod Squad. Do you remember that show, any of you? It was a long time ago. And the name of this little youth group was called the God Squad. Not the Mod Squad, the God Squad. I first met Carol when I went on my third date with my wife, Lee. Not married yet. We'd gone out our first date. I went and fixed a toilet at her new apartment. That's another story. The second date was a romantic date looking at leaves in the autumn in St. Louis along the Illinois River. The third was going to Compton Heights Christian Church God Squad, where Lee worked with Carol Mead. And Carol just was good and kind and generous. And those kids felt at home, and they loved Miss Mead. They loved Miss Mead. She even, losing her mind, took them on a camping trip. She was remarkable. She was the salt of the earth and a light to the world. When I think about her, I always kind of want to be like her, but I disappoint myself quite a bit. She never seemed to me to ever do anything wrong. She was just pure all the way through kindness. And when I examine my motives on things, sometimes I discover they're mixed. Sometimes I go out to do a good thing for a good reason, and sometimes I go out to do it for more self-serving reasons than I care to confess. Sometimes I have great intentions that I never realize, things I want to get done that I leave undone. Like knocking on those doors for those kids. She wanted it done, she got out, and she did it. She was the salt of the earth. the light of the world. We did a weird thing today for this congregation. It's not so weird in 95% of the churches around the world. We had a prayer of confession in the center of the service, a call to confession, a unison prayer, the Kyrie, a little jazzier than most. Kyrie meaning, Lord have mercy, Kyrie eleison, Christ have mercy, Christe eleison, Lord have mercy, Kyrie eleison. And after that call to confession and the prayer to confession and the asking and praying for God's mercy, there was silence. Silence is a little hard. And during that silence, it's still uncertain. Will God forgive us? We wait for just a moment to hear. And then the announcement of the good news, the incredibly good news that none of us are all salt of the earth. Even Carol's husband thought she wasn't Saint Carol. We are not always light of the world. We have things left undone. We do things we wish we had not done. But the remarkable news of God, the incredible gift of Christ, is to be forgiven as you are, to be empowered to be salt, not by demanding that you do it right, but that you be lifted up and called to it, that you be unburdened by the shame and guilt and regret that you have, but set free, to be a new creature and to salt up the world and bring a light to shine. It's a remarkable movement, that movement of the prayer. And then when we are new people, then when we are really new people, we are led forth to pass the peace of Christ to all of the world, to let our light shine. Not cover it with a bushel basket, but let it shine. Let the light shine. Let it shine.